Welcome back to Two Vits Talking Shit. I'm Michael Vitt, and
I am Mike Vitt.
that's Mike Vitt. He's the dad, I'm the son. We talk football every week. That's what we do. I'm not happy. He's extremely happy for reasons
Way
we'll
happy.
get into real shortly. But week one's over. You got any big thoughts? Any really big thoughts before we get into our teams specifically?
Of course I do. Week
All right.
one was fantastic for me, obviously.
Uh, yeah.
It's the end of the dark season with no football.
Uh-huh.
The exciting time leading up to the season is led into week one. I think that the week one was phenomenal overall.
It's a good
We
week.
had we had some teams lose that most people didn't. Some teams that we didn't think were going to look very good, look decent.
Mm-hmm.
And for me personally, obviously, the Raiders winning is phenomenal. So I know
Yeah.
that we have a fair amount to talk about, but as an overall week one, I like the storylines. There's a lot of good stuff,
It was a good week one.
and yeah. So yeah, I'm just excited that we're here. It's finally time.
Yeah, my week one was similar until the Lions lost. And then
Yes.
the next day, I watched Monday Night Football and I felt better again, so it's okay. But you know, just to start us off before we dive deep into our two teams and how they did,
Yeah.
I kind of want to address, some of our predictions from last week. Cam Ward had his debut.
Yeah.
I don't think it's Cam Ward's fault really in that game. I don't think he is. I think he's just a rookie quarterback who is going to take a couple games to get used to it.
Okay, so you're giving him personal pass on 112 yards, sub 50% completions,
Yeah.
0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions.
Yeah, because the 0 interceptions part. I just think
Okay.
it's a rookie QB, man. I just think it's a rookie QB playing his first game, and not all. I know he's the number one overall pick, and number one overall picks have to be superstars right out the gate. But I think that view of things has changed throughout the years, and things are being shown to us year in, year out that rookie QBs need time to develop. Doesn't matter where they're picked. Justin Fields looked pretty good with his Jets. Sam Darnold looked pretty good with the Seahawks. So it doesn't seem like it was a Vikings fluke. I think
Yeah.
teams just need time with their QBs.
So I mean, obviously that was something that I was pretty big on that's not something that we saw a lot from the talking heads regarding Cam Ward being the number one overall pick.
Yeah.
My feeling about him is that he's not going to prove to be, like an all pro type quarterback. But I will say this, that his on the field stats and watching him on the field and looking at his stat line, not very good.
No.
I do think that you're right that in part Denver's defense is really good.
Very
so
good.
That's going to be part of it. But I will say this, that what I did say last week was that he's a high character guy. He's a leader. And I did see that on the field throughout the entire game. And I really like his demeanor. I like the way he carries himself. So again, I'm not rooting for him not to be good. I just think that that's just my feeling on what I've seen. I know that just goes against everything everybody else has said for whatever reason. And so he's sort of unique in this sense that on the field doesn't match who I think he is as a person and as a leader. And so while I'm rooting for him, I'm going to stick with what I think, which is that he's not going to prove to be
okay.
A big giant win of a. So we'll see how it plays out the rest of the season.
Okay.
And we'll touch back on that throughout the season, but that's where we stand now. We'll see. It's really hard. It's really hard when you even look at all the results from this week one, because, as the season plays out, you'll see what teams really are. Like the teams that are good, that'll rise to the top. And some of these preseason predictions from us and everybody doing this, and kind of see week one's really hard, right? Because you don't know, is this team really as bad as we thought, or is that team really as good?
That's true.
And until you get into the season, that first 4 or 5 games is when you can really start to say, okay, that's really who the identity of them are.
Yeah.
So right now, I mean, we'll get into a little bit more, but Lions suffer a loss. By all accounts, they did not look the way we thought. They did not look the way they had the last couple of seasons.
No.
I don't think that that's indicative of what's going to happen to play out this season, but time will tell, right?
Yeah.
And just speaking on my team, the Raiders came out in the first drive, looked like I was excited.
They looked really
Obviously, I
good.
mean, it looked awesome. Took the opening kickoff, go down, nice 35-yard touchdown pass from Gino,
Yeah.
and we were off and running. And while I wasn't an explosive game for the most of the part after that, they closed out a nice on the road in Foxborough win.
Yeah, they
And
did.
so, but we'll see. I mean, is it because the Raiders looked good, or is it because New England's bad at? I think they are. So we'll just kind of see how it all plays out. So
Fair enough.
we'll see. So
Yeah, I agree. It does take time for some of these changes to come into effect. I will say there are a couple things that I think were immediately, like a couple changes that I think were immediately apparent. I've got two specifically that I like to talk about. The first one I'm going to address quickly because I don't really need to get into it too much, and I do think it will play out a little bit more. But I think week 1, the Bears and their offensive guru coming in, Ben Johnson, did not change in enough of a way that showed that the Bears were going to be super great with Ben Johnson all of a sudden. I think they looked very similar to last year. They lost this game off of a coaching error and their star players not playing up to how they should be playing, in my opinion. And so they looked very similar to last year. Now that, again, goes back to your point of it probably is going to take 4 weeks for you to see these effects. But the way the media talked about it, they were so pumped and excited, and they thought Ben Johnson was going to come in and this offense was going to be, the Lions last year. And they were not. They had some good trick plays, and I think where the Bears had their strengths were when they ran plays that were a little tricky and moved the defense a bit. But otherwise, they couldn't establish, a solid bread and butter, and they lost off of their key issues that they lost games in last year, which is Caleb Williams making stupid plays and their head coach making bad decisions.
Okay. I think they did look different. I think that
I'm not saying they didn't.
They look different from a couple of standpoints. Caleb Williams was the most sacked QB last year, which was not great last night, but certainly improved.
Mm-hmm.
He looked. Here's what I will say though: he looked better when he was good. So when things were going good, he looked like the quarterback I think that
people think
everybody hopes he will be.
Yep.
But when things were not good, you still saw sort of the same sort of things on the field, which is why we've talked about it before. Why I've never been a fan of his going back to when he played in Oklahoma. So he's always carried him. Yeah,
his character issues are shining.
I'm not judgmental on some of the things that other people are with the painted fingernails and some of the things that happen at USC.
Yeah,
those things don't bother me as much, but it just sort of is in line with who he is on the field. So from that standpoint, I think you're right. I think that Ben Johnson being there will prove to be
it'll be a positive change.
Will change. Yeah, and I think it's pretty clear that he's a much better coach than Eberflus as a head coach. But again, that's an opinion where I stand now after week 1, and that's just really my belief in from what we saw in Detroit. But
I think week 1 showed to me with the Bears is that it's not going to be a battle of the Bears against whatever team they're playing every week, but it's going to be a battle of can Ben Johnson keep Caleb Williams in a good mental state? Because what Ben Johnson had in Detroit was a quarterback who's already gone through the 8 years of, man, I've been fucked over. I've been thrown to the ground. I'm at my rock bottom. I don't care. If I have a bad game, it's not going to faze me at this point, right? Now he's dealing with a quarterback who's young, who holds himself to a really high standard and has some terrible character issues. So if Caleb Williams can't keep his mental locked in loaded, Ben Johnson's offense falls apart, I think. So we'll see how it goes. But I think
next one?
I think the next one is the actual big one that we actually saw immediate changes on for both sides, which is Micah Parsons' trade to the Packers. This is probably the last time we'll need to really talk about it, but we should talk about it now that we've seen the effects of the trade immediately, which is, the Cowboys didn't lose that football game because Micah Parsons wasn't on the team.
Right.
They did not, right? And I think the Packers immediately got some really great production out of Micah Parsons. Let's talk about the Cowboys and Eagles game side of that first. I think I sent you a text after that game saying exactly what I thought about it. I'm going to pull it up real quick because I don't remember the exact verbiage of it. But, man, I got to scroll through a lot of depressing Lions text to get there. I should have had this up earlier, but I was too locked into discussing.
Yeah, that's it. We do a lot of talking on during the games.
We do text a lot during games.
Okay. But anyways, yeah. So while you're finding that, then yeah, I'll say this. I did not, and I think I'm the majority. I did not see Micah Parsons playing the number of snaps he played. I think he played, it was 39 snaps or something like that, or 29 snaps. Far more than I thought. I saw 10 or less.
Yeah.
I saw him coming in on third and long, second and long, sort of sporadically throughout the game in sort of key moments. And he actually, golly, he almost played like almost a regular amount of snaps. I mean, probably he's about 10 or 15 short. But I mean, he played 3/4 of what of the game, which to me was really surprising. And so I didn't think the Parsons effect would have any effect in this game against the Lions because I just didn't think he was going to play that much. So and even during the game, I didn't even realize how many snaps he played until I saw after how many. And then I was like, that was the one thing that really stood out to me because I was not concerned at all about what he was going to do against the Lions. And I said last week, to be honest, I don't think that his position and him in particular are worth more than a half to maybe a game and a half of wins on the entire season. And honestly, with the amount that he played in this game unexpectedly, I think that had a big effect. That might be one of the few games where he actually creates that much problem. That might be the one game that he was worth. We'll see. Time will tell. But
so again, I looked through the text and I don't know where I must have said it on the phone with you, but the Cowboys. We're talking about two different sides of it at this point. You're talking about the Lions game, and I've been talking about the Cowboys part of it.
Yeah.
But,
go ahead.
We'll move on to the Packers part of it. He got on the field and he kind of fucked the Lions up. Genuinely, I mean, to be fair, if you watch that game, it wasn't just Micah Parsons, but their entire defensive line ran through the Lions O-line. The Lions offensive line was terrible. I think if you watch that game and you're a Lions fan and you thought anything after the fact other than our offensive line and our defensive line don't look as good as they should look, then you're overreacting. If you thought it was any worse than that, you're overreacting. Micah Parsons was a big effect, was a big thing for the Packers, but I think when he plays against a team with maybe a bit more solid of an O-line, it might be different. Although, you look at the stats, he fucking ran through Penei Sewell all night, and that's not something that happens. Penei Sewell doesn't get beat, and he got beat a lot. He had a terrible grading when it comes to the PFF grades. He didn't look that great. He was letting him get by him. So, who knows? Cowboys side of it was pretty straightforward. They didn't lose that game because they didn't have Micah Parsons. They lost that game for a lot of other reasons. I think the biggest reason was because of their offense, and specifically one player failing to catch the ball in moments where he should have been catching the ball. I'm not going to say the entire loss is on CeeDee Lamb dropping the ball, but when you are your team's star wide receiver and you have your really great, awesome quarterback back and he is getting the ball into your hands, you got to catch that ball. One of those passes, I'll give you a pass on because it wasn't catchable, but there were like 3 or 4 total that you dropped when you shouldn't have dropped them, and that lost your team the football game, I think. The Cowboys looked good. They're going to be fine without Micah Parsons. And honestly, they might be better because they didn't have to give him a shit ton of money to keep him on the team. So we'll see where that goes.
Long term.
Back to the Lions, though. Let's address this real quick. Lions lost in an embarrassing fashion. They looked like crap. Here are the pros and the cons, in my opinion, or the good things and the bad things. I think the good things are The defense outside of the D-line looked okay. They didn't look bad. The Terrion Arnold injury is minor. He should be fine. It seems like it's just aggravating something that happened last year, and he'll be good. Otherwise, our run defense looked phenomenal. Again, 3.5 yards average per carry for the Packers. They looked great with their run defense. Their passing defense was okay. In the first half, they looked like crap, but in the second half, they were doing a pretty good job. The positives on the offense, there weren't very many outside of Isaac Tesla. Looks like he's going to be our solidified wide receiver 3. He caught that insane touchdown pass to end the game.
Yes, he did.
And, genuinely watching that game, it just seemed like if the offensive line could hold for like a couple seconds, Jared Goff would have the time to do what we've been doing for the last 4 years, which is play action plays, a lot of that. The cons now, the negatives. We don't have a defensive line who can pressure on the pass game. It seems like a lot of people's worries about Aiden Hutchinson having a piece next to him are true. Who knew? Marcus Davenport is the guy that the Lions were betting on to be the piece that makes Aiden Hutchinson's life a lot easier, and he didn't look like it in the first game. We'll see if he looks like it later on, but if he gets injured, then we're screwed, because that's what his career has always been. He gets injured after having a good start, so we'll see what happens there. I'm hoping that the Lions get it figured out. It seems like this week, at least, they're addressing another issue, which is their offensive line. Their offensive line is terrible. I think it is going to be fine given a couple weeks, but Dan Campbell said it himself in his press conference, and it's these guys have not played full snaps and full games together yet, and that's a problem to me. That is the third big issue I had with this week, which is Dan Campbell and the Lions have had a very, interesting philosophy on the preseason over the course of him being the coach of the Lions, which is we're not going to play our starters, and we're going to play players who are trying for a rostered spot or like position players that are like very like slotted in key positions during the preseason, which in turn has made it so that our starters at the beginning of every season have looked kind of, especially an O-line who hasn't played together yet. I think the core issues and the reason why the Lions lost this game is because their O-line hasn't had a chance to play together, and our D-line was not upgraded enough in the offseason. So from a fan standpoint who's reviewed it a couple times, my issues are my front office not playing players in the preseason when they should, and my front office not going after a real solid piece for Aiden Hutchinson to play alongside in the offseason. Those are the two things that affect me. I'm not worried about my coordinators in any way. I think they did an okay job, and I think next week they just need to simplify the game plan a bit because nobody played in the preseason, so everybody's getting confused. We got a lot of young players, so that's my thoughts on the Lions. It's not that big of a deal. It's a loss. We haven't started a season 2-0 in the last 4 years, so it doesn't matter to me.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah,
I think that's probably the way it should be for almost all teams, right? I don't think that on my end, for any fan base that's part of the 16 winners and any fan base on the other side, I don't think there should be too high or too low just yet, right? I think you get through the first quarter of the season, and that's when, as I said before, where you really kind of look and start to see the character of your team and sort of what it's going to be. Is it going to be generally good or generally bad?
Yep.
Speaking specifically to the Lions, my feeling about them preseason, you and I talked about it quite a bit. My biggest feeling about them as a team, and I think what made them as good as they have been in the last few seasons, just on field, is the offensive line. I think the offensive line, being what it was, allowed the running backs to be successful. They're very good running backs. They will find success with a lesser offensive line, but it's why they were so good. It's why Jared Goff was largely untouched and could do what he does best, because he is a pocket quarterback. And it allowed time for the receivers to get open. You have a really good wide receiver core there. But I think that, the loss of the coordinators is far less significant than, in my opinion, that I've stressed to you over and over again.
You have, and I thought that'd
really,
be
truly
fine.
believe that the loss of Ragnow will be, it's going to be something that it's going to be an effect throughout the year
Yeah.
that will be a bigger factor than I think that you're thinking. I do agree that it's going to take a few weeks to watch that offensive line gel, but you cannot take somebody with not just the skill set physically and what he can do um, as a physical just monster inside, but he was the leader. He was the center of that offensive line.
Yeah.
And I think Panay Sewell is a better talent-wise lineman, but he was the heartbeat of them, man. He was the guy.
It's true.
When he was beat up and as hurt as he was,
He'd play.
he was gonna get up every play and go back. And you just can't replace that. And so to me, I really think that he was the extension of Dan Campbell actually on the field. And I think it's really hard to just say we're just gonna say that he's gone and that's just gonna be okay.
Yeah.
I hope it's not gonna be that way. But that's my personal feeling about it. And so we'll see how it plays out. I'm crossing my fingers and watching that offensive line closely. I don't think that this week is indicative of what we'll see as the season goes along. But I also can't just say that I'm just going to turn my head and pretend like it didn't happen.
It's gonna be a mix of probably the middle of what we both thought. I think that's what's gonna happen. But I mean, the takeaway from week 1 for the Lions, in my opinion, is in the offseason, they strayed away from what they built this team off of, which is build from the trenches first, and it is showing right now. It is very much showing. So let's move on to the Raiders, a more positive note, right? More positive note.
It was a good start. Yeah, it was a good start. So, wearing Raiders stuff out in the wild, out in life, I do get a lot of feedback. And so
Sure you do.
Certainly where I am now, and I do wear my Raiders hat and stuff everywhere I go. My car says I'm a Raiders fan on the license plate, so it is what it is. The biggest question I've had, whether people like or they want to tell me as a Raiders, is my feeling about it going into the season. And I'm the most positive I've been in many, many years, probably at least, I don't know, even maybe the Gruden years when that started, I was sort of hopeful. But prior to that, gosh, it's been 20 years since I've been this hopeful. And really, it's about the front office. It's about Pete Carroll and his coaching staff and sort of having an identity to get back to something good. So as far as week 1 went, I think that it sort of was right in line with that. I saw a team that was much more disciplined. That looked like they were playing for each other. I think there are certainly some things in the secondary that concern me.
Yeah.
But right out of the gate, the offense took the opening kickoff right down the field, and Geno Smith looked awesome. I had a lot of concerns when Geno Smith was going to be our starting quarterback. As I sort of looked over things in his production the last couple of years, certainly that with when he had Pete Carroll in Seattle, I became much more comfortable. And after watching him throw for 362 yards, didn't really have any, had no real mistakes over the last, I think it's 3 years. He has the highest completion percentage out of everybody in the NFL. And so he doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He has a high completion percentage, and it proved to be that way this week. So I was very excited about that. Similar to the Lions, a little bit different because it's been this way for quite a few years. There's an offensive line problem.
Yep.
That showed up certainly.
That rookie running back did not look too hot this game.
No, he did not. He had 38 yards on 19 carries, and that was because there wasn't a whole lot of holes to run through. And then as far as even the pressure that Geno Smith got, it didn't look good a lot of the game. So I don't know what they're going to do about that. We'll see what happens. That is a concern of mine. That in the secondary is a concern. But overall, as a team, and again, week 1, don't know what that means against the Patriots. I don't know what the Patriots are going to be, but I'll take a win. I'll take an opening week win, and certainly looks better in week 1 than I've seen them look in several years in any week. So I will take it. The post game stuff was nice to see. It looks like a group that's gelled. It looks like they're having a good time together, and really looks like it's a team that exactly what I hoped that Pete Carroll was going to be able to build with some unity, and looks like a bunch of guys who are playing football for each other. And so that's exciting to me. On the field stuff, I mean, it went sort of as good as possible. Jacoby Myers was happy after requesting a trade only just a few weeks ago.
That guy's dumb.
It's amazing.
That's all
It's
I gotta
amazing
say.
what nearly 100. Yeah, it's amazing what nearly 100 yards of production and 10 plus targets to show will get you. That changes. That'll change a little bit.
Quick
for
note
your
on
mood, I
him.
suppose.
Just quick note. He had his best career season all time last year, and then didn't get enough play time in the preseason and requested a trade when he has a better head coach coming in, a better quarterback coming in, and a really solid football team. Shocking to me. Blows my mind.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like it's a guy who wants to play for a team. It's a guy who wants to play for himself. But let's hope that it works out.
I think that's a wide receiver mentality across the board. But
I've seen wide receivers who don't have that mentality.
Yeah, I guess so.
I watch them every week. So
yeah, you're right. As for the Lions, you do have that, but so whatever. I don't care. He had a lot of nice things to say after the game in his press or in the post game interview.
Yeah.
So we'll keep that moving. The one concern I have out of this game is Brock Bowers' injury. Don't really know. I looked this morning.
Yeah,
and I don't have anything. It is a non-contact injury. He seemed to have he seemed to have very little concern at all in the post game stuff. Pete Carroll addressed it in his post game press conference, which is basically he could have come back in. They said they sort of kept him out and waiting to see if it was necessary. Michael Mayer had a decent game as well. I'm not sure what his stat line is.
He looked good,
but I know he was okay. So and he was our number one pick, or he was a high pick in the.
Yeah, he was the guy. He was the guy you were gonna run with, and then you guys had the fortunate ability to pick Bowers.
It's not as if Bowers needs to take a couple weeks off. It's going to be, I don't think it's going to hurt too much. Having that said, that I hope
he'll be fine.
Big. And I don't think it's going to be a big deal. The couple things off of the Raiders points that I wanted to make real quick as we move into this is there are some injuries coming into or out of Sunday. I think the one that I've seen that's the most significant, because we're talking about tight ends, is the Kittle injury. He's 3 to 5 weeks, could be put on IR.
Yeah.
For the hamstring injury. So the 49ers' luck of injuries looks like it's going to continue. That's one big thing. And then today, they still haven't announced it as we started recording today, is what they're going to do about the spitting incident in the
Jalen Carter.
And
I'm glad you brought that up because that was my next point.
So that was the big thing that I wanted to talk about. I don't want to spend a lot of time on it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it real quick.
It's disgusting.
Spitting on a guy's weird and like not cool.
Yeah, spitting on a guy is weird, and it's just I just don't understand it.
You don't do it, and even with the context of the situation, which we're never gonna hear what Dak and Jalen Carter were saying to each other before, but even with the context of Dak and Jalen mouthing at each other and then Dak spitting in his direction and then looking up and nodding at him, which is, people have speculated that he was doing that as a way to spit on him without spitting on him or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Even with that context, you still don't walk up to the dude and then actively spit on him. That's just disgusting and gross, and that's not something you do to another person. I think, Eagles fans are going, well, Dak spit at him, so, it's okay. And then every other person in the league's going, yeah, but Dak didn't spit on him. He should get suspended. He probably should not play a couple games. You don't spit on another man.
So they're waiting. I think that from what I've seen so far this morning is it looks like it's probably going to be a fine and not. And real quickly, for those of you who didn't see the incident, who are sort of casual and didn't watch that, the game hadn't even started.
First play huddle. That's what it was.
Yeah, it was the first play huddle. They were waiting for an injured player who was injured on the opening kickoff. You have the defensive huddle for Philadelphia, the offensive huddle for Dallas. Quarterback for Dallas sort of spits in the direction of the number one defensive lineman for the Philadelphia Eagles, who has a checkered past, we'll say.
Yeah, he's got
starting
a.
from his time when he played at Georgia in college all the
Mm-hmm.
way till now. He's had some other incidents we won't go into, but they sort of jawed at each other a little bit, and they came together fairly close. And then the defensive tackle for the Philadelphia Eagles,
Spit.
Carter is his name, spit square into the quarterback. And the ref was standing right there and saw the whole thing, thankfully. Was immediately ejected from the game. That's a you don't get a second chance for
No,
that
you're
kind of stuff.
gone. You're not allowed to do that.
And so he was immediately ejected before he played one down in the opening game
Of the
as
season.
the number one defensive player on his team.
Mm-hmm.
And they still won, so it didn't cost him a game.
But it was way closer than I think it should have been.
Yeah, I'd like to see him sit for a game. It doesn't look like that's the way it's going to be.
No.
And I brought it up because I wanted to address it, but we'll see. I think it's probably going to be a financial thing, which
he'll get fined. Yeah, but fines.
The amount
fines
of
don't
money
really
they're
matter
going to
in
fine
this
him
league.
is not going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they really wanted to send a message, in my opinion, they'd sit him down for a game or two and see, and really hurt his team, because that's what it would do. It would hurt his team. So
yeah,
anyways,
if they sat him
I wanted to address that.
If they sat him for next week, it'd be really rough for them because they're playing a really good football team next week. But yeah, the George Kittle injuries sucks. He had injuries last year too, so at least if we want to talk personally, fantasy this year, I didn't want to draft Kittle because of his injury from last year, and it sucked because and look, it's happening this year. I think he's just getting older. Tight ends from 5 years ago are not built like tight ends are now, and they get injured a lot easier. Kittle gets injured a lot. Kelsey gets injured a lot. The guys that were superstars 5 years ago, or I guess 3 years ago at this point, like they are not as good. Even Mark Andrews gets injured too, and he was a superstar too. Just tight ends are getting older, and that position is a very physical position. So, younger guys are the way, I guess. We'll see. I think the tight ends are going to have, as a position as a whole, are going to have the same issue that running backs had 2 years ago, which is teams are not wanting to invest in running backs long term because the running back position is very physical, and running backs the running back is a position that doesn't have as much longevity as other positions. I think that's going to happen to tight ends. They're going to have their rookie contracts get played out, and then maybe one big contract, and that's it, because teams don't want to invest in guys that are not going to last. Now, I think it was bullshit when it happened to the running backs, and I think it's going to be bullshit when it happens to the tight ends too, but we'll see.
Yep, time will tell.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we sort of wrapped up sort of hot points, and
there's only one
sort of
more.
Where our teams are at. Where do we want to go?
There was only one more that I really wanted to discuss before we got too deep into it, which is the Falcons. Because that was
the worldwide league-wide love of the Falcons.
There's that, and there's one more game. There's two games really that we should really discuss. There's two games that we should really discuss, and then we can move on. But or maybe even three, honestly, now that I'm looking at it. There's the Chiefs-Chargers, and the Chargers upsetting the Chiefs. Chargers proving me wrong and being a team that is significantly better than I thought they were going to be. I thought they were going to struggle a little bit more this year. There is the Falcons not being anything like everybody thought they were going to be. And again, it takes 4 weeks for teams to kind of figure it out, right? But when all off season, everybody's going, the Falcons are going to be the best fucking football team to ever fucking grace this fucking game. You got to talk about it. And then
easy potty mouth.
Sorry. And then there's the Bills
Passionate
Ravens
about
game.
that, huh?
And then there's the Bills Ravens game. There's the Bills Ravens game. Those
Ravens?
are three games that I think were crazy week one. Chargers Chiefs is really quick. We can touch on it real fast. Chargers were a better football team, and I think it is more showing about how the Chiefs played than how the Chargers played, in my opinion. The Chiefs started off extremely slow, like they have every season. Their wide receivers weren't catching the football, and they looked kind of rough. Falcons game, I'll let you talk about it because I'm clearly saying some mean words about it. So I'll let you say your Falcons thoughts.
I'll go with you. Let's stay on the Chiefs Chargers really quick. Yeah, I think that the going into the season, the Chargers sustaining the offensive lineman injury turned out to change everybody's opinion. Things kind of got crazy the week leading up to the season with regards to their thing. My feeling on, I'm pretty sure I picked the Chiefs to win last week in Brazil. That's where they played.
We both did.
I thought that team as a whole because they've been together so long.
Mm-hmm.
That travel, I thought the Chiefs had the upper hand in that. Not because the Chargers are significantly worse or not as good, but
No.
really just about there's just a lot that happens when you're going to go, across the world
Yeah.
and out of the country to go play in a place that's foreign. And so I just thought that the Chiefs would look a little bit better.
Yeah, they're a more
But
proven team, you know.
yeah, but you know what? And again, like we said over and over again, time will tell. I'm not sure. I'm not ready quite yet to say that the Chiefs are going to be on the downward.
No,
After
I'm not either.
basically owning the AFC West, certainly in the AFC, for the last 6 years since Mahomes has been the quarterback.
Mhm.
I'm not quite ready to say they're on the decline just yet. I think
They're
the
not.
Chargers are a little bit better than I thought they were going to be. I think that the AFC West will be the premier
They're
division
the best division of football
this year.
Yeah.
And we'll see sort of if they sort of beat each other up and how that ends up later on during the season. But
The Chiefs have been a very good football team for the last 6 years, but if there's one thing that they've been consistent on is they always keep games close for the most part, and especially in the last couple years, like when they lost to the Lions in the opening week of last year, they're not as good in the first or couple games of the season. They are a team that throughout the season gets way better. That's why they've been so dominant, because when the end of the season rolls around, the Chiefs are are rolling through it, right? Like that's why they carry momentum through the postseason. They do really good. So losing week 1 by 3 points to the Chargers, or what I think it was 3, is not crazy to me. The Chargers are supposed to be a really good football team this year too. So
it was 27-21.
27-21, 5 points. Either way, one score. Right.
Or 6. But yeah.
6. Wow, I am so bad today. Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm here for you. I'm here.
I'm so off today. Either way,
I got you.
Chiefs losing by one score is not that big of a deal, right? They'll be fine. Their momentum will carry, but they keep games close against good opponents. It's been a story a lot where the Chiefs will be down at the half and they'll come back and win every single time, right?
Yeah.
When they play good teams, it's close games. The reason why they're so good is because they can beat good teams. That's it. They didn't beat this good team, but they didn't beat the Lions game 1 of last year either, right? Like right. It's just how it is. They're bad. They're slow to start. That's all it is.
All right. So then we have Falcons and the Buccaneers.
Yeah, just say your piece. I don't need to say anything about it.
Falcons were at home. They did not look great. I think that they had the opening drive.
The opening drive was amazing. They gave the ball to Bijan.
Where Bijan had that nice catch for it was like
60 yards or so, whatever it was,
and then 60 yards. Bijan being Bijan. Bucs looked absolutely terrible for almost the entire game. I mean, Baker Mayfield ends up 17 of 32 for 167 yards.
They look like trash.
He did have 3 touchdowns and no interceptions, but I mean, really not great. I think going into this, one of the things we talked about last week was the hype on the Atlanta Falcons. I haven't bought into it. I still haven't bought into it. Seeing this week sort of solidifies my feelings about it. We'll see how it changes. Penix was 27 of 42. Yeah, it was 27 of 42 for 298 yards and just 1 touchdown, no interceptions. So it didn't have much. Decent yards, decent completion percentage, no interceptions, so didn't make any big mistakes. But then you look at the rushing from Bijan, he had 12 carries for 24 yards.
How much did he get
and
receiving?
He was their leading, and then receiving, he had 6 receptions for 100 yards.
He was their leading receiver, right?
Leading by a lot, yeah. And that was 60 yards of that, so 60% of that was off that opening drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't see anything that makes me too excited. We don't need to spend a lot of time on that.
It's the same story as last year, in my opinion. They have a slightly better roster, but the Falcons need to rely on Bijan doing everything for them on offensive side, and their defense is solid. So if they can't figure out how to make any other position player, a piece of the offense that does more, then it's going to be a really, really tough time for them, because you can't give Bijan the ball every play. You can try, but he's either going to get injured or people are going to start stopping him. So now let's move on to
the third game.
The best game of the week. The Ravens and
Yes.
Bills. Wowee. What a game. I gotta say, I had fun with that one.
Yes, it was a fantastic end to a long Sunday of football.
I mean, again, those are the two teams that I think are favorites to battle it out for the AFC this year. I mean, my lord. Ravens looked like the Ravens. They looked exactly how we predicted them in the preseason. Super solid, super good all the way around. I don't think anybody should be concerned about Derrick Henry getting too old. He looked just fine. And man, the Bills pulled off a comeback like no other. 6 minutes left in the game, and they're down by 15 points, and they pull off a win like that. What a game.
Yes. What a game.
MVP proved that he's the MVP. Let's say that. I mean,
absolutely he did.
Wow.
Yeah, phenomenal, exciting game. The whole game was awesome. It looked a little bit scary for the Bills. Down whatever it was
15
25.
points. Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're down 40-25.
Yeah.
But I never felt like they were out. I wasn't sure if they could come back, but it was just a fun game to watch. I mean, stat line's a little bit crazy.
I know.
For the Ravens, I mean, it sort of looks like I guess you would expect from the Ravens team. Lamar Jackson was 14 of 19, only had 209 yards and 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. So decent there. He had 70 yards rushing on 6 carries.
Yep.
With 1 touchdown. And really, as you said, Derrick Henry was the star of the show. I know that, and he had 18 carries for 169 yards, 9.4 yards per carry, and 2 touchdowns on the night. Big story. The thing that was talked about after that game, though, was he did fumble.
Yep.
With 4 minutes left in the game, that proved to be more than the Ravens could overcome.
Yes, it was.
I mean, you can't really say that he lost the game without saying that he was the reason they were in the game. So
yeah, I mean,
I think he'll be fine.
This is not a single player sport. You know, it's why I didn't blame
I
CB
was
on it.
texting you on Sunday night asking. I think I texted you. I said, "Do you know who Derrick Henry reminds me of?"
Yeah, you sent me some
who?
really confusing shit.
And I said, "He reminds me of Derrick Henry of the last couple of years."
Well, you didn't add last couple of years. You just said Henry again.
I did. I have the receipts on my phone.
I have the receipts too. I have the receipts too.
But anyways, my point of that, which I thought was kind of funny, though you didn't get it initially, my point of that was that I think that people have sort of turned the page on him, as we do on
They have. Yeah.
He's, I think, 31 or 32.
He's old, man. Probably the oldest running back in the
he's
league.
just been he's been a monster for all of those years. And at some point, all those carries, all those hits, and all the damage he does to other people
start to add up.
Are going to come back and have he's going to slow down eventually. My point in that text was I don't think it's this year, based on what I saw.
I mean, everybody thought it was going to be last year too, right?
Yeah, it's week 1, and the attrition of the season will happen. It just hasn't happened to him yet, and I got to be honest, he looks as big and scary as now. So I don't know. I mean, he put some stiff arms in that game that made some grown men who are playing professional football look like
Pop Warner players.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Oh man, it was brutal. So that was my point in sending you that text. My point simply was he still looks like the monster that he is. And I don't think that that's going to slow down. Not this year.
I just want to clarify, first of all, and this is probably a mix of two things, but I'm reading the text back. And you said Henry is owning it as usual. You know who he reminds me of? And I said, who? ? You said Henry.
Yeah.
And then I said, who does he remind you of? Because when you said Henry, I thought you were saying like Derrick Henry. And trying to clarify when I said who. And then this is the issue. Because the text that I sent next didn't send until after the fact. But you sent the crown. And I went, okay, so he's clarifying that he's talking about Derrick Henry again in my head. And then he said, he reminds me of King Henry. And that's when I sent, he reminds you of himself? It didn't send. And then you said from the last 5 years, doesn't seem to be slowing down. Sheesh. And now I got it once you said the last part. But initially, you just kept saying Henry. And I was like, I understand you're talking about Derrick Henry. Who does he remind you of? That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
I was like,
he reminds me of, there is nobody else like him. Like when you are going to compare the best beast of a running back against the best beast of a running back.
He is.
He's who we're going to say that's what. And
I know.
what I was saying was he hasn't diminished. He is
No,
the
he hasn't.
same guy as he's been, and it was wild to see him come out and do what he was doing. Even when he slows down, he's not going to fall. I don't think he's going to fall off a cliff. But I mean, just what he was doing in the game was just phenomenal to me. So that's the Ravens.
I'm sure we'll talk about it. I'm sure we'll talk about it later this season. But there's definitely a conversation to be had about Derrick Henry being an all-time running back. I think for a very, very long time.
Hall of Fame already.
I think for a very, very long time there have been 3 running backs at the top of the running back Hall of Fame all-time list, and those guys might soon be taken off that list. Not all of them, but some of them for sure.
Oh, well, I'm a little bit older than you.
I know you are. I know you are, but look at what Derrick Henry does in a game that has evolved to what it is. Like, Derrick Henry is doing things week in, week out that I think is comparable to those guys, and he's doing it for a lot longer than them.
Okay, so I watched all of what we're talking. I've watched the players that you're talking about play in real time, and I'm watching Derrick Henry now. And we will have to put this. Let's put this on the back burner for now, so I can think about it a little bit. Because right now it's just going to be emotional.
I know it is.
My response will just be simply emotional and telling you to shut your mouth.
It's the old head against the young head.
Shut your mouth, you kid.
It's the old head against the young head. And here's the thing. Here's my argument for it. What am I wearing on my head right now?
I know what you're wearing.
And who is arguably the best running back to ever play the game?
I've agreed. I mean, I spoke of Sanders and made sure that you knew who Sanders was a long time.
Of course,
yeah, forever.
Love Barry.
Much respect.
I'm not saying Derrick Henry is better than all 3 of the guys, but Derrick Henry definitely deserves a conversation to be on that Mount Rushmore. I'm just saying he deserves a conversation to be on that Mount Rushmore. He does for what he's done.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just not prepared to have this conversation
You're not prepared
right
to have
now.
the conversation. That's okay, because you're probably going to hit me with some stats later on in the season, and I'm going to be like, oh, fuck, he's using numbers on my ass. I don't like numbers. They scare me. And then we're going to have to deal with some shit. So,
I'm not going to look it up now. Our stat team and our IT team is currently
so you and you are busy looking it up while performing. I get it. You'll look at it, and we'll talk about it later, but I think he deserves to be in the conversation at least.
All right. Let's get back. Let's get back in here. Hold on. Let me give you. Hold on. Let me give you the stats from the Bills side.
There's
too,
more
real
Bills.
Quick.
Oh, there's Bills.
Yeah. Well, we just talked real quickly about the Ravens. The Ravens stat line looks exactly like the team that they have been.
Exactly.
That they will continue to be. I don't agree necessarily with all the hate for Harbaugh. There are the stats of the big stat that everybody wants to use this week after that game is that he has 17 losses when leading going into the fourth quarter. I think 17 is the right number. I don't remember exactly that. It's some ginormous stat. And I need to go back and look at it again. The IT team was busy. The stat guys were busy yesterday.
Dude, our big team of like 20,000 people who are working on this show. Yeah,
they were all busy doing the other jobs that they need to do in order to pay bills. So they didn't get to look and see exactly. But Harbaugh's coached for that team for over a decade now, and I would be hard-pressed when people are looking at that stat and comparing that to other coaches that they coached as long as they have in that team situation. So I think the stat's a little skewed. I'm not willing to bury Harbaugh just yet.
It's misleading.
Yeah, I think it's misleading. There you go. That's exactly right. So anyways, on the other side, the Bills – the Bills, phenomenal. MVP Josh Allen from last year was 33 of 46 for 394 yards, 2 touchdowns on the air.
1 rushing touchdown.
14 carries for 30 yards for 2 rushing touchdowns.
2 rushing touchdowns.
So he accounted for 4 of the touchdowns. Yeah, he accounted for 4 touchdowns. And was absolutely phenomenal. Keenan Coleman, their wide receiver they got last year. Keon Coleman had 8 receptions for 112 yards and 1 touchdown. Going into the season, he's being spoken of very highly by his own team. Certainly that this is going to be the season that people thought he was going to have last year as the number 1 wide receiver there. Yeah. And I do believe that too. I believe we have him on our fantasy team, if I'm not mistaken. We had him last year.
Keon Coleman on our fantasy team, yes.
Did not produce last year like we sort of hope fantasy-wise. I think we took on him this year, which we can maybe get into later. But at any rate, was a phenomenal game. If you guys didn't get to watch it, just go watch the YouTube highlights of it. Just the
Wonderful
condensed
game.
version.
Yeah,
If you get 15 minutes of that game in condensed form, you guys will.
I've
It's
been
really phenomenal.
I've
It's a
been
phenomenal way
high
to end Sunday.
on I've been high on Josh Allen since he was drafted. I've picked him in
Hard
my
not to be, yeah.
I've picked him in my fantasy league every year since he's been a rookie, except for last year. He's been my starting quarterback every single year. I didn't pick him last year because I went, you know what? I should switch it up this year. I should try something new. And I tried Lamar Jackson out last year. He was great. I liked Lamar Jackson too last year. But Josh Allen, I've always liked to watch. I think he's always been great. He had some trouble with interceptions for the first half of his career, but he's clearly figured that part out. And now he just throws for a lot of yards and runs for a lot of yards. So I think if nobody can figure out how to stop him, which doesn't seem like anybody's going to, he's going to be in the AFC Championship game against the Ravens again. And I've already said it. I think the Ravens are going to the Super Bowl. But yeah, that's awesome. Those two teams showed us exactly who they are to start week one of the NFL football season, and they will probably continue to do that. I think the Ravens are going to smack the next team they play. Yeah, and
if you didn't get a chance to watch it, go watch that game. Anybody?
Yep.
Who's listening? So okay.
All right, let's move on to our final segment. We've done it. Okay. We're gonna do it every week. It's our fantasy pick'em. We're gonna pick who our winners and our losers of for each week, head to head, and then we're gonna pick against the spread. The current spread that we're looking at is CBS's spread for Tuesday, September 9th. That's what we're looking at. That's what our numbers are based off of. So when you look at the numbers on screen, that's what we're talking about. Last week, just to go over it, because we should address it, we tied. We both were 12-4 head-to-head teams.
So and straight up just winning
the game. We were 12-4. And then against the spread, I was 8-8, and you were 6-10.
Yeah, not great.
Yeah, I mean, against the spread is tough. I think having a 500 record against the spread is really good. I don't think you did bad either. But let's get into week 2. Let's start off quick and easy.
Okay.
We're gonna do it a little different than we did last week. Last week we did all the straight ups and then all the against the spreads. We're gonna just do it game by game this week.
Okay, I like that better.
I like it better too. I had a thought in my head last week and it was wrong and it was dumb. So we're gonna do it the smart way now. Straight up, Washington football team against the Packers on Thursday Night Football. We're in Green Bay and the Packers are favored to win by 3.5. So I'll start with my straight up pick. I've got the Packers winning this game. How do you feel about that?
I have the Packers as well,
and against the spread,
I think that I think the Commanders will cover.
You think the Commanders are going to cover? See, I'm against you on that. I think the Packers are actually going to cover this. I think they're going to win by at least 4 points. So I've got the Packers here. Quick spiel on them real quick. Washington didn't look like Washington last week. I think they should have. They looked good and they won, but last year they looked a lot better. And the Packers came out and looked really good in week 1, especially at home. So I think the Packers are going to ride some really great momentum, and Washington's going to continue to have a slowish start to get into their season. I mean, they smacked the Giants, but you know.
Okay, why don't you let me do my picks first since you have yours already?
Oh, you're gonna do your.
I haven't told you my picks yet, right?
No, you're gonna be telling them to me live. Yeah.
Right. Okay, so. And then what's the next game you have then? Browns Ravens?
Yeah, we're gonna do the Browns Ravens next. So what do you have them on?
Okay, Browns Ravens. Baltimore. The Ravens are favored by 12.5 points. That is a ginormous spread. Browns played strong against Cincinnati. I think they actually should have beat Cincinnati last week.
Yes.
However, time will tell. We'll see. I'm going to take the Ravens to win. I'm going to take the Browns to cover that 12.5.
Okay, nice. Wow, we are starting off differences with some differences. I have the Ravens are also 10.5, not 12.5. By the way, it's 10.5.
I got 12.5 on my screen.
Are you looking at the spread?
I am looking live at the CBS lines.
Interesting, because I read it twice, over and over. We can look at it again real quick. But
Why don't you pull it up and see what you got? I'm looking at it from when I pulled it up this morning when we were doing.
yeah, it's 10.5. It says 10.5 right here
On CBS Sports?
on CBS Sports. Browns Ravens. On the open it opened at 12.5, but it is now at 10.5.
Okay.
So
10.5. I'll still take the Browns to cover.
okay, I have the Ravens winning this football game straight up, and I have the Ravens covering. I think the Ravens are going to win by 2 touchdowns. The Browns are not nearly as good, and I think the Bengals are just not as good as people think they are. That's all. So
All right. Then the next one we got Jaguars at the Bengals.
yeah, this is really funny because I was just
Do you
talking
have
about the
minus
Bengals.
3.5 on that?
It is minus 3.5. I'll
Okay.
hit mine real quick. I have the Bengals straight up winning, and I have the Bengals, or I have the Jaguars breaking the cover. I think it's gonna be a close game. I think the Jaguars are gonna
I love this.
eke a loss out of this.
I love this. I will take the Bengals to win at home, and I will take them to win by more than 3.5 that they're favored.
Wow! Look at this, dude. We are crazy different. We agree that that these teams are gonna win, but we are completely different on the covers. That's awesome. But
I mean, the Jaguars played the Panthers last week, and they won by, I think, 16 or 14.
Yeah, they won by a lot.
Touchdowns. But the Panthers are garbage. I think the Jaguars are garbage.
Yeah,
Until
but I
they
think the
prove
Browns are
otherwise,
garbage, and the
then-
Browns almost beat the Bengals, right? Like,
Well, that's true.
I mean, if we're
That's
gonna do
true.
we can do the argument back and forth, but like, the Bengals,
and this is what's fun about sports,
the
right?
Bengals,
we can
the
all
Bengals didn't
we can
show.
all look at the same game, the same information, the same
and you know
stats. We
what?
can see the same thing happen on the field and have different opinions.
And
That's
you know
great.
what? Preseason, I said I'm high on the Jaguars to be okay, and preseason, I don't know how much I talked about the Bengals, but the Bengals didn't look that great last year outside of Joe Burrow being able to throw the ball to Jamar Chase.
That's
So
true. All right.
let's
Okay.
see.
All right.
Let's see what happens. They can't
Okay,
win football
next
games
one.
though. We know that. Next one is
Yep,
Giants
okay.
at Cowboys. Cowboys are
You got
favored to win by
minus.
6.
You got 5.5. Oh,
By
you got
6.
6. Why are we different? So I don't understand why we're on the same website. But
You're-
we'll figure that out later.
Your odds have definitely changed. I'm looking at the updated CBS Sports spread.
Okay.
Cowboys
no
are
worries.
favored to
We'll
win by
figure
6.
out our differences in there. So so Dallas is favored by 6. You have.
Favored by 6.
Okay, I have the Cowboys winning after watching the poo-poo show that was the Giants last week.
Yep.
And the Cowboys being far better than I thought they were going to be. And I think that at Cowboys, I'm going to take the Cowboys to cover that 6. I'm going to take them to win by more than a touchdown.
I completely agree with you across the board.
Okay.
There are reports that Dable is already asking his GM to let him put Jackson Dart in as the starter. He wants Russell Wilson gone already. So
They won't let him not yet.
They won't let him yet because they need to not. But Dable's already
he
begging
won't
for
be
that
there
guy to be
before
benched.
week 5.
So
He won't be in before week
course,
5. Mark my words. We'll come back to that in a later pod, but he won't be there before week 5.
Cowboys are going to cover the 6. They're going to win by a touchdown.
Okay.
Now here's
Perfect.
a fun game. Ooh, the Bears at the Lions.
Bears at Lions.
I have the Lions winning this game, and the Lions are favored to win by 5.5. I have the Bears covering. I think it's going to be a really, really close game.
So this is there's a lot of storylines here. We're not going to go into all of them, but there are a
No,
lot of storylines here. Ben Johnson coming back.
we'll talk about it next
to
week.
The Lions. Yeah, we'll talk about it next week. But I have the Lions winning, and I have covering in a get-right game. And
do
so
have
I got
them
the
covering.
Lions. Yeah, I have them covering. You said it was at 6. You said or
It's 5.5 in favor of the Lions.
5.5. Yeah, because what I'm looking at is different. So
Do
you have it
got
at
us winning
5.5.
by more than a touchdown.
I have
or by a touchdown or
I have the
more?
Lions by I have the Lions by 4.5 is what I have, but it's okay. So you got Lions, but it wouldn't have changed my opinion.
Hey,
Detroit
you're cutting
stepping all
out.
over the throats of the Bears.
Ooh, yeah, I didn't hear any of that.
Oh, okay.
You said
I have the
Detroit.
Bears.
You have Detroit something.
Yeah, can you hear now? How are we doing?
Yeah, your microphone's been cutting out here and there through the podcast, but it's not ever been long enough than more than like a word.
Huh. Interesting. Okay. I have
So
the
just say
Lions.
you have the Lions winning, and then you had the spiel after. You had the Lions covering,
And
and
then
then
Oh yeah, I have the Lions covering. It wouldn't matter what the spread was. Anything under less than a touchdown, I would have had them covering. So
okay.
I have them covering. I have the line. It's a get right game. think they're going to step all over the throats of the Bears.
Oh, there it is.
And I think that they're going to prove that they're actually better than what they looked in week 1. And that's that. We'll talk about it more later on the homecoming of Ben Johnson. So what's next? We got Patriots at Dolphins. And what do you have on the spread on that one?
Patriots at Dolphins. Dude, I'm going to be honest. The spread for me is Dolphins 1.5, by the way.
Okay, that's what I have too. Okay.
So, spread for me and my thoughts on this is Patriots are going to beat the Dolphins. And the Patriots are going to cover because they're going to beat the Dolphins. So that's how I feel about that game.
I have both too. I have the Patriots winning. I have the Patriots winning by more than the 1.
Well, the Patriots if the Patriots win, they beat the coverage.
Oh,
because the Dolphins
I apologize. You're right. It's Miami. Yeah, I have the Patriots winning. Okay, moving on.
Dolphins are trash. Patriots look fine.
Okay, so then we got 49ers at the Saints.
49ers at the Saints. 49ers are favored by 4.5. Let me hear your thoughts.
Oh, man. Well, the Saints look better than I thought they were going to look. I got to say.
True.
I mean, I didn't spend a lot of time watching that game, in all honesty. But even the production that they got from quarterback and first-year coach Kellen Moore, I thought they did a pretty decent job from what I saw, the little bit that I did see.
Yeah.
Having said that, I don't know. 49ers have the injuries with Kittle, and Brock Purdy is having a shoulder issue, a non-throwing shoulder issue.
Yeah.
You said it was 4.5 San Francisco's favored?
Yeah.
I'm going to take the Saints, and that's that.
Wow. Saints both ways. I'm a little different on you. I have the 49ers winning still. Just because Kittle's out doesn't mean that they're going to struggle. And then I have the Saints covering, though. I think the Saints it's gonna be a close game for sure, but probably a 3-point victory for the Niners.
Okay.
Moving on to the next game. This is a fun one. Bills at Jets.
Yes.
This is a big interesting game because if there's one game we didn't talk about that we could have, it's the Jets-Steelers game last week. The Jets played a really good football game against the Steelers. They did. They looked much better. I mean, they allowed how much, like 31 points or something to be scored on them.
32, if I'm not mistaken.
32. They scored 31. Yeah. So I mean, defense didn't look that great, but they looked like a good football team offensively against a defense that's supposed to be really good. So, in my opinion, I think the Bills are going to win this game, but I don't think the Bills are going to cover their 6.5-point spread. And yeah, I'm saying that with my chest out. I think the Jets are going to keep the game competitive, just not competitive enough to win.
Yeah, so so this is a division rival.
It is.
This is the Bills coming off of a Sunday night game where there was a lot of emotion and a lot going on in that game.
Mm-hmm.
You have the Jets, who played lights out in opening week and lost. It's at the Jets. I'm going to take Buffalo to win because I think Buffalo is that good of a team, but I think it's going to be a close division rival game. I think the Jets will cover.
Wow, you agree with me?
Yeah,
shocking. I agree too. I think it's going to be
I do. And honestly, man, the Jets could win. The Jets could win this game. I do think they could.
I can't give them winning this game. I can't do that.
No, I can't either. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you that if we're sitting here next week, I'm going to be like, oh my God.
Are we playing the any given Sunday rule? Are we replaying that rule right now? Is that what we're doing?
No, I'm just saying I'm not going to be blown away. There's some games where if I tell you that I would just be,
if the Browns
if the Jaguars
walk into the stadium and beat the Ravens, in Baltimore, we'll both be sitting here with our jaws dropped, and
right,
but that's.
So I got Bills, I got Jets covering.
Okay.
All right, what about
Seahawks?
What's the next one?
In Pittsburgh.
Seahawks at Steelers? And what's the line on that? Pittsburgh's favored by how much?
Pittsburgh's favored by 3.
Pittsburgh's favored by 3?
Yeah, we can address that. The other half of the Jets-Steelers game, Aaron Rodgers and DK Metcalf looked awesome. The Steelers' offense looked really good. Their defense looked like shit, though. So, same story of the Jets, right? I think, the Steelers are going to be really good this year, but to me, this game's a coin flip, and I'm flipping the coin in favor of the Seahawks. I think the Seahawks are going to win, and they're gonna outpace the Steelers.
I love that. I love that.
And that's maybe personally anger. That's maybe me having personal issues with the Steelers because I don't like their quarterback at all.
So I love that take, and I am going to go the opposite, and I'm going to take the Steelers. And I did this last week too. I took the Steelers, and then you and I spent all day on the phone Sunday watching. In large part, that was one of our focuses. While we watched all games, that one was one that we spent a little more time talking about. And I told you last week while we watched it, I took the Steelers to beat the Jets last week. I'm taking the Steelers to beat the Seahawks this week, and I'm taking that because that's what I believe is going to happen. What I want to happen is the Seahawks to absolutely demolish the Steelers. I would like Aaron Rodgers to have a terrible day. I want him to look like he's 41 years old. I want him to play like he's 41 years old. And I want him to look terrible. However, I don't know if that's going to happen, so I have to pick with what my brain says, not with what my heart says. All right. All right. Next one. What do we got? You got Rams at
Titans. Rams are favored by 5.5. Yeah, man. Rams didn't look as good as I thought they'd look, but they still won.
And on the flip side, Rams look better than I thought they would.
Yep.
So they're somewhere in the middle, right?
They're somewhere in the middle of where we thought.
Okay. What do you got?
And so I have the Rams to win this game. And I don't have them to cover, though. I have the Titans to cover this. I think the Titans, after 1 week of getting used to what football is going to be like, are going to pick it up. And I think they're going to keep the game close, especially at home.
Ooh, man. I got Rams, you said, were favored 5.5?
Rams are favored 5.5.
Man, that's a lot. Because the Titans played a strong game against a really good defense in Denver. And I don't know that the Rams have that defense. And the Rams look better to me. But I'm going to go out on a limb here. The Rams to win and the Rams to cover.
Wow.
The Rams to win by a touchdown.
Big thoughts. Okay.
Yeah. Win by a
I
touchdown.
disagree with you in an angry tone. Panthers at Cardinals.
Okay, Panthers at Cardinals. Okay. Ugh,
Panthers suck. Cardinals don't suck as much, but they're good.
Yeah. What's the line on that?
Cardinals are favored by 6.5.
6.5?
Yeah, I will say this. The Panthers look much better than we thought, or much better at the end of the season last year than they did at the beginning. And they looked kind of in the middle last week. They kind of let the game get away from them against the Jags. But, I don't think of the Cardinals that highly. They won last week, right? So, but they beat the Saints.
By a touchdown.
I think the Panthers, are going to lose this game, but I think they're going to cover that 6.5.
Really?
I do think they're going to cover that 6.5. I do. I think the Panthers are similar in my head to the Titans, and I think they just need a week. And give them a week, and they'll probably start picking up the pace. I think week 1 for every team is not showing for the most part.
Okay. All right. I got the Cardinals to win. I got the Cardinals to cover.
Ooh.
Panthers are poo-poo. Panthers are poo-poo. I'm not even going to say. That's it. Okay. I need to say no more.
All right.
Okay, Broncos at Colts.
Broncos are favored by 2.5, and I think we're both going to agree on this one, but I'll let you go first.
So, it was pointed out to me, interestingly enough, that our pod last week, the most time spent on any singular topic was our topic of the Colts, which I thought was kind of hilarious. And we have not talked about them even once today. So, real briefly, I like the Colts. Broncos are a division rival of the Raiders. They have a really good defense. However, they barely eked one out, quite frankly, against the Titans. The game they won by 8, but it was kind of close there for a minute. They didn't look all that good, certainly on offense.
Yeah.
And the Colts, man, the new look Colts, right?
Golly, they look great.
Danny Dimes slinging that ball around there.
Dude, Michael Pittman Jr.
Taylor
looked great.
Jonathan Taylor doing Jonathan Taylor things, and they look good at home. And so I'm going to take the Colts to win and the Colts to cover.
Yeah, dude, I agree. I want the Colts
game.
I think the Colts are going to win this thing, and they're going to cover this thing. I mean, they're at home too. They're giving too much credit to the Broncos, I think. So let's see the Colts. Let's see the Colts in a victory this week.
All right. One.
Next game is Eagles at Chiefs. Eagles are favored by half a point. It is a literal coin flip.
That's
It's the Super Bowl. Okay. It's the Super Bowl rematch, except this time the Super Bowl is in Kansas City. That's it. That's the only difference. And if you are thinking anything but the Chiefs are going to win this game, I think you're a silly Billy, because I think the Chiefs are going to win this game, especially if Jalen Carter is taken out of it. But if he's not, I still think the Chiefs win. That's my thoughts.
I'm the silly Billy in this case. I will be the silly Billy.
Is it because of the Chiefs wide receiver room?
Well, sure. It's everything. Yeah, it certainly is. Yeah. Worthy is their only wide receiver of note, and he will not be playing.
Juju Smith-Schuster, Dad. Don't disrespect him.
Like I said, Worthy is wide receiver of note. Now the Chiefs historically, Pat Mahomes has been able to piece together.
He plays best when he has nobody behind him.
Yeah, he's been able to sort of use what he's got and make the most of it. He
knows how to do it.
His abilities. But let's not forget, that is the Eagles.
That is the defending champs. Yeah,
they are the returning champs. They dog walked the Chiefs last week, last year in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
in the Super Bowl. And so they're going to have Jalen Carter by all accounts. I expect him to be back.
Yeah.
And so I think that I'm going to take the Eagles in that pick 'em.
You know what?
To win.
Eagles proved me wrong. And my thoughts on this are, I think it's not about talent. I think it's character. The Eagles looked undisciplined last week. They looked undisciplined. They looked all over the place. Even with the win, their players were doing stupid things across the board. And their head coach, I think, is the reason for that. I don't like their head coach. Okay. I think he does stupid things. And so when I think about it, I think the Chiefs are going to be fine.
And you know what's funny is I agree with you on every point you just made.
And you still think their talent is just going to outshine it. That's crazy to me. No, yeah,
you know what? I'll tell you this. For as silly as they are outside of those big white lines, the guy on the field, their quarterback,
Jalen Hurts,
and
you're talking about Jalen Hurts
and Saquon and Lane Johnson, their left tackle, their probably Hall of Fame.
Lane Johnson.
Between those lines, they sort of can take care of business, and the guy who's the field general on the field is the one running that show. I agree with you 100% on everything you just said about their silliness when you get outside the lines. But
quick thing, do you know what Jalen Hurts' stats were week 1?
Off the top of my head, garbage.
Yeah, 19 of 23 for 152. The only thing he did great was
23. Only threw the ball 23 times. How many yards?
150 yards.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
And what was the touchdowns and interceptions?
He threw 0 touchdowns and 1 interception, I think. Maybe it was 0. My phone's not showing me now. Oh, there we go. Hold on. He threw 0 interceptions. He was sacked once though. That was the stat that.
And what was his yards on
150.
The ground?
Oh, 0. He didn't rush, or he didn't have any rushing, I think.
Yes, he did.
Did he?
Yes, he did. I guarantee you. He had like a 12-yard.
I'm sorry. Touchdown. Yeah, he did have 14 carries and 2 touchdowns running the ball. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Okay.
No,
okay,
here's my thing.
I'm gonna stick with my point.
Here's my thing.
That'll be fine.
If he can't throw the ball, then what's the point? Is what I'm saying.
He was 19 of 23, dude.
I know, but he only threw for 150 yards.
19 of 23.
Awesome. Completed the ball a bunch. But if you're throwing, if you're throwing stop routes and you're throwing fucking screens the whole game, then yeah, man, get all those completions. Throw one pass for like 80 yards and do that the whole game, and then I'm happy with it.
He had an 8.33 yards per completion average. That's phenomenal.
You heard my thoughts.
Okay, I heard your thoughts. They're based in emotion, not in fact. And even the facts you tried to give,
they're not in emotion. I don't care for the Chiefs. I don't like the Chiefs. I don't like the Eagles either. But I really don't like the Chiefs.
I know, but the stats you're giving me, I'm proving right here that you're wrong. But that's okay. That's why it's fun to do this, right?
It's fine.
Moving on.
Prove me wrong.
Moving on. Okay, moving on. What do we got? Falcons at Vikings?
Yeah, Falcons at Vikings.
What do you got as a spread on that?
Vikings
are favored by 5.5. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
This one gets interesting.
I've actually since refreshing the page refreshed. So I could tell you what it changed to because it has
What did it change
changed.
to?
Since I pulled it back up again, that spread specifically has gone to 4.5, and the Chiefs game has gone to 1 point.
That's what I have.
Okay. Do we want?
It doesn't matter.
I mean, the 1 point
Chiefs,
the Eagles Chiefs being 1 point is again just to pick them. It's if the Eagles win by 1 point now, then you technically lose that pick. The Vikings I'll adjust to 4.5 though. Man, it's crazy how fucking quick these lines change sometimes.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, so that's why we'll just take ours and sort of leave them for the week.
Yeah,
we know that they'll adjust. We'll know that they adjust, but the way we do this is just it doesn't matter because we're not playing for money. It's really just so we just leave it the way it is. So
yeah,
that's fine. You want to change to 4.5? Okay,
yeah,
so I got Falcons at Vikings. It's a home game for the Vikings. I don't think the Falcons are as good. JJ McCarthy and that Vikings team looked completely
good,
different in the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
they didn't look good for the first three, but yeah. So I'm going to go Vikings at home. Vikings cover.
Yeah, me too. Vikings both ways. I've got them. They similar story to my thoughts on the Titans, except they figured out in the fourth quarter instead of week 2, right? I think it's just a guy who hasn't played quarterback yet in the league, needed some time to figure out how to play quarterback, and he's done it. So
okay, and then we got the 2 Monday night games. The first one we have, which do we have first there?
Bucks at Texans. Okay. Texans are favored by 2.5.
Okay.
Here. Oh, you want me to hear my thoughts on it first?
No, I'll go. Texans did not look very good at the round last week. Buccaneers looked absolutely comparative to what I thought, although I had a little bit of a sneaky suspicion that Baker Mayfield was not going to look very good.
Yeah, you had a theory.
I'm gonna go with the Bucks to win, and I'll take them to cover that 3 points. I'll take them to win and cover.
I agree with you. The Bucks were slow to start, and then they were, a team that figured out how to finish a game. And the Texans looked the whole game. So Bucks I think are just going to win it. I think Baker is warmed up now, and he remembers that he has a wide receiver named Mike Evans on his team. Hopefully. That has nothing to do with my fantasy team at all or anything. Throw the fucking ball to Mike Evans next week. Last game. My most excited game of the week. Chargers at Raiders. Chargers are favored by 3.5. I'll just go first because then you're gonna have probably a little bit more to say than me. I like the Raiders both ways. I think that division is gonna be competitive, as competitive can be, and I think the Raiders at home is what I like to look at. This is gonna be the Raiders' week to prove that they are more than just a team that can beat mediocre teams. So let's see it.
Yeah, I agree on your points as well as your pick. I'm going to take the Raiders at home. Oh, man, that 3.5.
Well, if you take the Raiders to win, they cover.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. Yeah. Again, I'm so wrapped up in just sort of digesting what I think about this game. So I'm going to take the Raiders to win. I think it's going to be a close game. It has been the last few years, except for the absolute blowout that they had last year. Where they beat them by like 60 or whatever it was. But I think that this is a good opportunity for the Raiders to show if they are going to be competitive in the division. And, really, this is the first matchup of the AFC West against each other. And so we'll kind of see what's what. And so my feelings is that the Raiders are going to be good this year. I have them winning at 10. And that means they're going to have to win a couple of these division games.
They are.
And coming off of a big win in Foxborough, coming off that momentum, coming off of the regime change, and all of the things that come from the preseason and what we saw last week, I'm going to take them. I'm going to take the Raiders. That's probably 30 or 40% emotional pick because that's my team. And the other 50, 60%, 70% is in sort of me really believing in what's happening on the field. I still have the same concerns. We'll see what the pass rush does for the Chargers, and I do have some serious concerns in the secondary.
Yeah.
Herbert played phenomenal last week, and it's Quentin Johnson. Is that who it is?
Yeah, Quentin Johnson.
Quentin Johnson, and then their new wide receiver, Ladd
McConkey.
So they've got some things that are concerning to me, but this is a real sort of test, and we'll address it next week on what we see. But I've got the Raiders beating the Chargers. So
wow, I mean,
and that's it for the picks.
As someone who's not influenced personally by the Raiders game as much as you, I like what I saw from the Raiders last week enough to believe that they can pull off a win at home against the Chargers. So, yeah, that's it. That's our picks. That's our show. I think at this point. I mean, the IT guy and the stats guy and the other guys that we've hired are tapping their watches right now, telling us to get the fuck off the air. So.
Yeah. So I real quick, I just want to say, if anybody's still listening on our second pod here as we continue to refine this, appreciate it.
Yeah, me too.
Michael and I were just having fun.
Yeah,
we're having fun. This is what we do anyways.
We do this every week.
So we hope you guys are enjoying it. If you don't listen to the whole thing, cool. If you skip through and you're here at the end, thanks for listening. If you listen to the whole thing, God bless you. We'll continue to refine it and get better. But I just want to say thanks for listening, Michael. I'm having a ton of fun doing it, and we will reconvene next week.
Yeah, thanks again for watching. We'll see you next week. Love you. Bye.
All right, bye guys. Bye.